Hello, students, and here we are again, still reviewing those exponents and getting them down really sharp so that we know them and we have them for high school. So our do now today, we'll start with that. We've got a chart that talks about calm down strategies, and I know you'll have a good time with that. You're very clever. Our objective today is to perform operations on exponents. This is kind of ongoing review of what we've been doing. And our essential question is how the exponent rules work together, which is, instead of doing just addition or subtraction, multiplication, division, or the power rule, we're starting to put all these rules together now. So we want to complete the do now, the work page, the exit ticket, and you know the drill. Make sure you show me your work. If you have trouble with your camera, you can certainly take a picture and send it to my email. And if you don't get it all done in class, you can finish it for homework. Remember, we're almost through the third marking period, so let's finish strong. We'll get back to our exit ticket in a minute, but we'll start with our do now. We have some tree decorations today, just kind of blowing off the leaves, the leftover leaves from the trees before the new buds open up with those March winds. So today we're talking about emotion stress management or emotion management. And we're talking about kind of calm down strategies. So here's the question. Would either of these emotion management strategies, could any of them help you manage stress at school? Here we have sitting in the calm down corner. Would that help? Burying yourself in schoolwork and ignoring the world. Would that help? Would having a mindful minute help, or asking for help after school? Or do you have other ideas? So make sure you respond over here to those thoughts. So we're going to talk today about the rules of exponents. Remember, when we multiply exponential terms, we add the exponents. When we raise an exponential term to another power, we multiply the exponents. So x to the 7th times x to the 12th would be x to the 7 plus 12, or x to the 19th. Number 2, 8 to the 10th times 8 to the negative 3rd would be 8 to the 10 minus 3, which would equal 8 to the 7th. Now we have the power rule, where we have to multiply the exponents. So m to the 3rd raised to the 4th power would be m to the 3 times 4, which would equal m to the 12th. And now with number 4, we have to distribute that 6 through to the 2 and to the 5 by multiplying. So that would be 8 to the 2 times 6, 12th, y to the 5 times 6, 30th. And that's our final answer. Number 5. We have again the power rule, where we have to multiply these two exponents by each other. That would be 12 to the 2 times 5th, 10th power. Number 6 would be negative x. Be careful of these parentheses. Negative x, including the negative sign, is being raised to the 2nd power. And then that, in turn, is being raised to the 3rd power. So we have negative x, 2 times 3 is 6, negative x raised to the 6th power. Number 7, when we divide exponential terms, we subtract the exponents. So this would be 12 to the 8th minus 3, which would be 12 to the 5th power. Number 9, same thing, we're going to subtract, but remember, it's the denominator from the numerator, so you might have a negative exponent. In this case, 9 minus 18 is negative 9. So we have to deal with the negative exponent. So we're going to take this and put it in the denominator with a numerator of 1 and a positive exponent of 9 as our final answer. For number 9, now we're doing the multiplication and power rule. So multiplication and power rule. So let's start. We have two terms here. We have this term being multiplied by this term. So we have to raise each term according to the power rule. Now note we have an invisible 1 here. So we're going to take this exponent of 3, multiply it by the 1 and by the 2. So that would be 1 times 3 is 3, y, 2 times 3 is 6, and then we're going to take the 4 and multiply it by 2 and 3, those two exponents. So we'll have x, 2 times 4 is 8, y, 3 times 4 is 12. And now, when we multiply these two terms together, we add the exponents. So now we're with the multiplication rule. So we have 3 to the third, and then we have x to the eighth, and then we have y in both terms. We add the exponent. 6 plus 12 is 18. And that's our final answer. So number 10, we're going to use the quotient rule. We divide, we subtract the exponents. We have an invisible exponent of 1 on the denominator, on the w. So 16 divided by 4, we do that first, and that equals 4. Then w, 4 minus 1 is 3, and x, 12 minus 8 is 4. And that's our final answer there. Number 11. A little bit of work to do because we have multiplication and the power rule, right? So we have to deal with both of those. So let's start with x to the negative third times 3 is negative 9. Y, 2 times 3 is 6, times 2 to the second power, x, because it's 2 to the first power, times 2. X, 6 times 2, 12. Y, 4 times 2 is 8. Now we still have to evaluate that. So we're going to have, the only numerical value we have is 2 to the second power. And 2 to the second power is 2 times 2. We can evaluate that as 4. And then we have x, and I'm going to change my color for this. Negative 9 plus 12, so that's 3. And then y, 6 plus 8, 14. And that's our final answer there. And then number 12, negative 20 divided by 16. Well, those are both divisible by 4. Negative 20 divided by 4 is negative 5. 16 divided by 4 is 4. We have an exponent that's an invisible 1 on the r in the denominator. So r, 5 minus 1 is 4. And s, 4 minus 8 is negative 4. And we cannot have a negative exponent. We're going to put that in the denominator. So we'll have a numerator of negative 5, and that's okay to have that negative. It's a negative exponent that we do not want. R to the fourth. We put s in the denominator with an exponent of 4. Then the exponent becomes positive, and that's our final answer. We go back up to our exit ticket. When I multiply exponential terms, I must, let's get a darker color that shows up. I must add the exponents. When I raise an exponential term to another power, I must multiply the exponents. And if you finished early today, I do have a little fun for you. I've got, you can label the leaves with your stressors and imagine them blowing away in the brisk March wind, or we have a word scramble there that you can do. So thank you for your hard work and for paying attention. Make sure you ask questions and ask for extra help if you need it. And remember, keep practicing because when you do, you'll be great.